So today we're going to talk about the project for data analysis and our checklist for the unit. So the first thing I would like you to do is open up the data analysis project PDF in Schoology and follow along as we go through it. Part 1, there's two parts to this. Part 1 is on mean, median, mode, and range. So I want you to get a list of numbers somehow. You're going to need at least 10 numbers. Use family, friends, sports, anything that interests you. Show me the list and explain where you got them. You could survey all your friends for their highest score on a video game or how many pets they have. You're going to want to get some decent numbers, get at least 10, more if possible. Once you do, you are going to explain to me how you find mean, median, mode, and range. Then using your set of data, you're going to find the mean, median, mode, and range. And finally, you're going to make up a situation where you have an outlier and explain how it's going to affect your mean, median, mode, and range. So here's an example to kind of go through it. So here's my part 1. I did this a couple years ago. If you look, it's 2020, I think, April 24th, 2020. I put a post on my Facebook page that said, I need everyone's help. I'm about to assign a data collection project to my students, so I'm going to collect some data. Please share with me how old you were when you first joined Facebook. Thank you for helping me with my teaching. So I came up with a situation to get numbers. I had a lot of people, so if you look at my comments, I had a lot of people answer my questions. You could come up with any survey that you want to do. You could put it on social media, whatever, but you're going to want to collect it. So then I took a break from that and I figured out how to find mean and I explained it. So I'm not doing it here, blah, 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 blah. You are going to explain to me how you find mean. Same thing with median, blah, 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 blah. How do you find median? And how do you find mode? And finally, how do you find range? So you're going to have 4 slides or 4 pieces of your project that explain how to find those. Then back to my data, I collected this and I put mine, here's my frequency chart, so to speak. I put it all together, I got it organized. And then using my data, I found the mean, median, mode, and range. So I used that with the data that I got. Then I created a situation with an outlier, some point that's a lot higher or a lot lower. I wrote a paragraph explaining that and how it affected my mean, median, mode, and range. So here's my situation. Remember, I asked people how old they were when they joined Facebook. So here's my outlier. My 98-year-old grandmother decided to join Facebook. I feel like my mean, median, and range will increase with this higher number. She's a lot older than anybody else that had joined Facebook. So then I did it. My mean went from 35.9 to 37. My median was not affected, still at 37. My mode was not affected, that was still at 38. My range, however, was affected. It went from 58 to 85 because the new high number was 98. So there's part 1. Part 2 is on interpreting graphs. I want you first to find 3 graphs. They must be all different types of graphs. They should include titles and labels. Use newspapers, magazines, sports, anything that interests you. Then using that data, using that table or graph, you're going to find the mean, median, mode, and range from the data in that graph. However, there are some graphs where you can't find the mean, median, mode, and range. And if you can't, you're going to explain why you can't find it in a short paragraph. Then, for each graph, you're going to write a paragraph explaining what it shows and what conclusions you can draw from it. So, here's mine. This is part 2. I found this graph on a website. It is an age breakdown of customers for a shop. So I used it. It's a stem and leaf plot. I used it to find my mean, median, mode, and range. I didn't have to write a paragraph explaining why I couldn't, but here's my paragraph with the conclusions that I drew from it. So this stem and leaf plot shows ages of customers at a small boutique at the Mall of Atlanta in Georgia. The owners wanted to know what age group shops there the most so they can fill their boutique with merchandise directed towards that age group. The conclusion I drew is, according to this graph, the owners of the boutique should gear their merchandise towards customers in their 30s. So if you look, the majority of their data was in their 30s. We had a few just below and a few just above, but for the most part in their 30s. So somehow you are going to present it. It doesn't have to be a video. It can be Google Slides, iMovie, Explain Everything, any other platform, as long as you get it to me to where I can open it. So again, you're going to have part 1 where you collect some data, explain how you find mean, median, mode, and range, and then with your data, you're going to find the mean, median, mode, and range, and then a situation with an outlier. And then part 2, you're going to find 3 graphs, find mean, median, mode, and range for each of them, or explain why you can't, and then a paragraph on each one explaining what it shows and the conclusions that you can make. So you can present that however you want to. So finally, both parts of your presentation of your project is due in one form of a presentation. I just want one set of slides, one movie, one whatever, as long as you can send it to me. And it is due by May 24th. So you have a little bit of time, but it's due May 24th. So let's look at the checklist for this data. Open the data analysis checklist PDF in Schoology again. This is the top part. This is our calendar. We did on May 3rd and 4th, we did lesson 7.1 with mean, median, mode, and range, and you got a homework assignment. May 5th and 6th, you did 7.2 on graphs, and you got a pretty big packet for interpreting graphs. We're going to introduce the project, quiz, and checklist. That's what we're doing right now. You're going to have a couple of work days, and then some NWEAs, and then the final work days. Remember to use class time, transitions, and home time. So what's I'll do? Here it is. By Tuesday, May 24th, this is what I need to have done, and this is why I put it with little circles so you can check it. Once you're done with the 7.1 homework on mean, median, mode, and range, you're going to check it in with me, and I'll mark it off. Same thing with the 7.2 homework. You are going to check it with me, and I'll mark it off. Then you need to make sure you do your project part 1, project part 2, get those done, and then turn them in. And once I see it's turned in, you're going to do a self-reflection. That needs to be done as well. I've also passed out a data analysis study guide. You need to do that. And once you've checked that off and you're ready to go, you can take the quiz. All of this, all 7 things, the 2 homework assignments, the 2 parts to the project, turning it in and doing the self-reflection, and the study guide and the quiz, all of it is due by Tuesday, May 24th. You'll have work time in class, you've got transitions, and you have home time that you can be doing this. All of it needs to be done by May 24th. If you have questions, please come and talk to me. Otherwise, good luck.